welcome back to Tibra's Den, and welcome to another CAS Monday. Today we are creating the Charmed Men. So I kind of went back and forth. I knew obviously Leo, he was a given. And with Phoebe, I debated whether to do Cole or Coop, because obviously Cole was a main part of the show and was her main love interest. Coop kind of came in at the end. I decided to go with Coop because Coop is her happy ending, and I never really liked Cole anyway. So I think it was an extremely toxic relationship, and so I decided to go with Coop. And then of course for Paige we did Henry. I always forget his name, but of course I was able to look it up, and so we did Henry Mitchell for her. So obviously we're starting with Leo. I really had a hard time with what aspiration to give him, so I went with Big Happy Family. Of course, he is good. I gave him the sweet trait, and then I gave him family oriented as well for his trait. I had a hard time with Leo. I'm not gonna lie. I had a hard time with all of these guys, but Leo, I don't know. You guys will have to tell me what you think, but his head looks too big. And I couldn't get it quite right. Like, I was trying to get, because he has a very like wide head in general, and so I was trying to get it right, and I don't know, it just looks kind of off. But I do think you get the Leo essence. I think out of all these characters, the only one that I'm still not getting really a good vibe from is Phoebe. I definitely think I could have done a lot better on her, and so I might, later on go in and try to tweak her a little bit. But for today, we're not worrying about that. I did go in and give them the rest of their outfits, which I will show you guys all of the outfits at the end of the video. The men, I did all their outfits. I did Lil Wyatt. And then the girls, I went back and gave them all their outfits. So I just do like a quick tour at the end of the video. But again, I had a picture pulled up. I don't think I'm going to be doing this again. I had my other save file that I was playing in, and I had a bunch of like my favorite TV characters and my favorite actors, singers, things like that growing up. But when it came down to actually creating them, in my other save file, I just downloaded them from the gallery. And I really enjoyed seeing them, while I was playing, they would pop up. And I was like, oh, look, it's, so-and-so. And I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But creating them is not so fun. Like, it is not in my wheelhouse, and I get so frustrated. And I think that's why with the girls, I didn't do their full outfits, because I was trying so hard to get them right. And it was really frustrating for me. So I don't think I'm going to do this again unless there's a character I really, really, really want. And then I might do it. But for the most part, I think I'm gonna stay away from this, because it was hard. It was really frustrating. And then for Leo's hair, when I was editing back this video, I actually liked, I think it was like the second hair I gave him. And I ended up going with this one, and I wish I had gone with that second hair. It might have been the second or third. I can't really remember. But it was one of the closer to the beginning when I was going through hairs. And I really, really liked it. And I think it gave me more Leo vibes than this hair here. But the pictures I was referencing, his hair is just kind of all over the place. But it's not very long at the same time. And so this is the hair that I thought worked well. And I ended up going with it, obviously. But I almost wish I had gone with that other hair. But clothing-wise, Leo was actually very easy, because he is very simple and basic as well. Like, he's not too over the top with his clothing choices. He, generally just has like a basic t-shirt or long sleeve, and then, jeans. So he was really easy clothing-wise. I will give him that. But trying to get the rest of him was hard, for sure. And you can see I spend a lot of time just sitting and looking at him, and then I thought, well, maybe if I get his clothes, I'll get more Leo vibes, and maybe I'll be able to adjust him after I get his clothes on. And I did a little bit, but again, this is not my wheelhouse at all, and I think I'm definitely gonna stay away from doing this in the future. And like the house too, trying to create the replica of the house, like, it was just getting so frustrating. And so I'm definitely definitely not. Or if I create characters, I'm gonna, probably just do like my own house. I'm not gonna worry about doing a house from the show or anything. And I'm gonna try to keep it to like a smaller cast maybe, or just do like my favorite character from a show or something like that instead of trying to do the whole cast. And I could have done that here. I could have just done the three sisters and Leo and maybe Wyatt. And I thought about doing Chris as well, but in the end, Piper's pregnant now. I went in and I cheated a pregnancy with one male child, and then I put her in her third trimester. So Chris should be born soon, but I didn't. I didn't want to have two toddlers. I didn't think, they're kind of far enough apart in age that I thought it worked better having a toddler and a baby at some point. So she'll definitely have little Chris, and I'll go in and play them before I mark them as unplayed. I'll go in and play them, and so that way I can make sure he has the right name and everything else. But yeah, this is Leo. I don't know. I just don't know. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think about him, because he was hard. And I did make him a spellcaster. I debated whether making him normal or not, but he's a white lighter for most of the show, and so I like the idea of him having some powers as well. So I did make him magical as well. And now we are on to Coop, and I actually found him not too hard. The hardest part with him was his hair. I couldn't decide whether to go black or dark brown, because I wish there was more shades in The Sims, because his hair's not the same shade as the girls, but it is more of a dark brown than a black. And unfortunately, I really couldn't get the right shade because there's not a whole lot of options for their hair. So I almost wish with the sliders they had done that for their hair as well. That would have been really, really awesome. But that's okay. And yeah, I found him probably the easiest out of all the boys, other than Wyatt, of course, because Wyatt's a toddler. But I gave him the soulmate aspiration. He is romantic. He is also good, and he is outgoing. And I kind of went with a lot of red for him, since he is Cupid. I wanted to kind of have that theme going. And so I did give him like a lot of red color and such. But I do like how he turned out, and I think he was a little bit easier. I think the actor that plays him has a little bit more of a classic look, so it was a little bit easier to kind of get that look, I think, than it was for Leo, who has kind of a very distinct look. And even Henry, but I still found Henry easier than Leo, so I don't know, but yeah, for Coop, I think the hardest part for him was finding the right hair, because he kind of has, his hair's not super long, but it's not super short either, and it's kind of has like a very styled look, I would say. And so I think that's the hardest part, but I ended up going with that hair there that you see. I liked how it looked on him, and for him, I wanted kind of a more polished look. You see him wearing like a lot of button-up shirts and jackets, and so that's kind of what I was going for overall with most of his looks. Or like I said, I went kind of like a red theme on some of the other looks that you really couldn't do like a polished look on, like his swimsuit and maybe his athletic wear, his sleepwear. That's kind of what I did. But for his everyday look and like his formal look and such, I went very polished for him. And so now we are on to Henry. And of course, I had to look up what his name was, because I never remember what his name is. I don't know why. I really like him and Paige together too. I think they work really, really well together. But I just can never remember his name. So, but yeah, for him, I wish, because they have the deviance aspiration, they had like a do-gooder aspiration as well. But since they don't, I gave him the athletic trait. He's, of course, active. He is self-assured. And then for the last one, I decided to give him good as well. Like, he does have a good heart, and he's trying, to make a difference with, like, the kids and such, because he's a parole officer. So, but yeah, for him, I think he was fairly easy as well. And he kind of has a distinct style um, as well. And I was fortunate enough to actually find things that I thought worked well for kind of the style. He's not grungy. He's just, it's not very simple or basic. It's kind of like tough. He kind of has like this tough style, I would say. And so that's what I was going for. And then for his hair, he has very short hair. And so I was trying to find a hair that worked for him, which was, of course, difficult as always. But I think in the end, I was able to get one that I kind of liked. I think it's the one previous to that I ended up going with. So, because the other ones were just too messy. Like his hair's very short, so it's not very messy at all. And so I did, I like some of the longer looks better, but it just didn't fit. So that's the hair I ended up going with. And then for his look, of course, I gotta straighten their posture. I don't know why it bugs me when the Sims slouch so much. But for him, he kind of has like a tough look. And so he sometimes wears jackets or he wears like open button up shirts like this with a shirt underneath. And so that's what I went with for him. And then just basic jeans and, shoes. Nothing too fancy there. And then, of course, here I was like, why does Wyatt's head look, or Leo's head look so big, like especially compared to the other men? And so I was trying to keep the proportions but get it to shrink a little bit. And I don't know, he just kind of looks like he has a bobblehead. So now we are going to create little Wyatt. So of course we got to get Piper and Leo, and I just randomized a son, and I debated what to give him, and I ended up going with Independent. For Wyatt, I almost went with Charmer, and I thought about, like, but he's not very social, he kind of keeps to himself, too, which, is a thing. He doesn't really play with the other kids, and that's kind of like he has his imaginary friend that's not so imaginary. So, but yeah, so this is little Wyatt. I like the hair, and I was just trying to find a little nose. Of course, he wasn't that difficult at all because, he's a toddler. There's not a whole lot you can do, and there's not a whole lot of options. So just basic shirt and pants. And that is him. I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here. We're going to go through the other outfits really quick, and then I have a couple of screenshots of them all together. So let me know who your favorite Charmed character is, and let me know how you think I did, or any tips or suggestions you have. And we will see you on Friday. We are going to be doing P3. So have a good one, guys. Bye.